Oh yeah, can you believe it?
Yes.
This time we didn't have a shitload of things go wrong right when we started.
It's a win.
Yeah,
It's a W.
we're getting we're learning more about this. Like next week, we're going to do things like learn how to place the camera angle better. Because now it seems like we're basically like two grown men, but are basically all like 4'8", and we're like, "Hey, everybody, would you like to talk about man stuff?" So, yeah. All right, I'm checking to see to make sure that. Yep, what's going on over there? All right.
All right.
Wow. Oh gosh, welcome to another episode of the Mansplaining podcast with Jake and Dave. I'm Dave.
I'm Jacob.
Hey guys, this is the show for guys by dudes. This is basically our version of giving advice to the 22-year-old version of ourselves.
Yep.
And that's not saying that the older version of ourselves has this shit locked in. It just means
No. Yeah.
we're just trying to throw some stuff out there, man. Basically, because there's a lot of things out there for the young. Like we would always say, like if we were in our 20s now, trying to grow up, the way we did. Like, but in today's time, there'd be no fucking way.
Man, I actually feel bad for the kids nowadays growing up in this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not even COVID. I mean, that sucks enough. I mean, that's bad, but I don't know, man. I get the weird feeling like there's going to be like a turn and people are going to rebel against certain things.
Oh, yeah. It's happened before, as a matter of fact. People, like, they think that, this strong... And by the way, what I'm about to say, I'm not against feminism. I'm not against a lot of this shit. No. Jake, on the other hand, fucking hates the dames. No. Back in the 70s, there was a big wave of feminism, right? And what happened after the 70s was the 80s. And if you remember how women were portrayed in music videos, all throughout cinema, TV shows, for the most part, it was not favorable at all. It was like there's this huge backlash where all the guys wanted to see, after all the sensitivity stuff from the 70s and all the intellectual things, like, I just want to see big cars, big guns. That's all I want to see. And, blondes with huge knockers. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all they wanted. And
the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. And so that shit's, I mean, it's what happened. And then it kind of slowly turned like the 90s and things started turning around again. And then, we got the 2000s and everything and where we're at right now. But it's kind of weird. Like if you watch, if young kids today, go on Hulu and look up some of the old sitcoms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look up the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yep.
The first episode of that, the whole thing about that show is she's a single woman. What?
Yeah. What? No way.
Who wears pants? What?
Oh my God.
And just wants a career, but doesn't want to get married. Oh my gosh, that was groundbreaking for the time.
Honestly, she should have went to jail.
I'm sure there's a Reader's Digest. The Reader's Digest.
Yes. This Mary Tyler Moore woman is a travesty on society. She should be locked up.
My wife saw one episode and says she wants to learn to read now. What kind of bullshit is this? So yeah, there was a big, huge thing. I mean, you can look at, there's a hard hitting. I mean, some really, really ones that shine a dark light on the time at those times, like All in the Family. That would.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that show was kind of like it was like a real show. Like I remember when they redid it like live. Remember that?
Yeah. And it was so funny. I watched that
man.
and I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought, but what's so strange is that you can listen because they did it in front of a live audience where they can hear. Like when they drop an N-bomb and you could hear the whole crowd recoil.
Yeah, you can hear it. You can actually hear. You can feel the wind from all the assholes just shutting.
Yeah, exactly. They also did one of that. They did one of All in the Family and then one of the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
And I think the ones who really stole the show, like Marissa Tomei, did a freaking amazing Edith Bunker.
Oh, now she's even hotter in my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, Archie, fuck me.
Yeah. So that made a little more sense. And then Wanda Sykes played Wheezy, which I thought that was freaking awesome too. There was like a lot of really cool things. I mean, Jamie Foxx did a great job, and so did Woodard. Everybody did a good job, but it was such a strange thing where like in the Jeffersons, always making fun of the fact that it was a mixed, that their neighbors had a mixed relation or mixed marriage.
Wasn't that like that was all that in the real show? Wasn't that Lenny Kravitz's parents?
Yeah, the wife played that was actually Lenny Kravitz's mom.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was these crazy things where it's like it was funnier, I think, back in the 70s when George was always making fun of this relationship, but it didn't come off as funny as it did back then. Because you could hear some of the crowd going like, you know.
Well, because everyone's lost their sense of fucking humor.
Right. Well, on top of that, it was just such a strange thing also because it was a rare thing to see a mixed couple back in the 70s, 80s, early parts of the 90s, and, but, so it's just funny. It's interesting to watch. Like I wouldn't say it's an accurate representation of the world from back then, but he kind of gives you a good idea of what it was, is what people thought was funny. Same thing as like when you look back at like 1940s films and stuff, and you're like, oh, geez, why did we think this was good acting? That type of thing. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, shout out to Lynx Wilson who followed us from I think that was just like basically a rerun that I was that I do with these shows and stuff. But let's see. So we were gonna current events. I really haven't been paying attention to anything that's been going on, just because it's been kind of disheartening. Or maybe what it was is I had to take a break from my YouTube algorithm, and just start looking up for different things that had nothing to do with anything, just so that way YouTube doesn't keep throwing me the same Tim Pool. Articles on the same thing. We're like, if this article pissed you off about this subject, here's 10 more that are really going to piss you off.
I honestly don't think I could ever do a podcast with Tim Pool. I would fucking.
We're in no danger of that happening, though. I don't think.
Oh yeah, probably. But I'm just saying, like, I watched a few of his, and he'll have smart people on. Like there's one guy named Scott Horton on. He's like an anti-war guy from like Texas or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I like him a lot. He's an anti-war dude, and he's like a master of fucking foreign policy. Like he knows more. He knows more about foreign policy than I know about anything.
Right.
Combined. But he kept on talking over him, just fucking like. I hate when you're on a podcast and someone goes, listen. I hate that.
Yeah.
Fuck off, dude.
It's not a good way to have a conversation.
No, yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, man, there's a lot of shit that people say that I have to, I want to interrupt, but I'm like, all right, let me see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll give me the same respect when I want to talk. That doesn't always happen.
It doesn't, and it's like, fucking Jesus. I saw where Tim Pool came from, and I actually applaud what he's done as far as like having his own thing, buying a house, making money, all that stuff from where he came from, because he was doing shit for Vice way back in the day before Vice started to suck ass.
Yeah, before they sold it.
Well, yeah, but now, like he's kind of turned into like a guy who's like full of himself, and it's kind of annoying. Like, when he started selling the food buckets, I was like,
yeah,
I'm done with this guy.
And by the way, we know that you don't sell those anymore, but we're still going to tell it. Because there was a 1 week, I think, when he was actually selling it. Then after that, I think he probably got so much shit.
And it was like during the fucking height of the riots and shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part that kind of got me. I'm like, man, isn't the same shit we used to make fun of Alex Jones and Jeff Beck about? They're all like, buy gold. Here, you need to get a food bucket. You need to prepare yourself for the coming, race war.
The reason why fucking Alex Jones does it is because that's the only way he can make money, because he's been demonetized on literally everything.
Right.
So, I get that. But then again, I'm not buying no male Vitalogy or what the fuck it's called, or that stuff. But granted, it's been a weird year. The fact that Alex Jones has got more credibility than fucking CNN.
Yeah.
That's a mind bender. And it's not like I'm trashing CNN or trashing Alex Jones. It's just a fact of what's going on. Like, CNN is full of shit. If anybody quotes CNN for their news,
right,
and just CNN, you're fucking dumb. You're worse than someone who just gets the news from Alex Jones. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? CNN only has themselves to blame. So there was this one funny thing that I saw that Tim Dillon put up. That he got this email and he blocked out who it was from, like from the New York Times. It says, "Hey, listen, I'm doing a report on Rogan, and he mentioned something else. Like I was the one who did the report on this one guy who went to high school with Trump. And either way, my next thing is on Rogan. I was wondering if you have some time, just to get a feel what it's like, how he runs his shows, and you know, what it's like to be a guest and all that other stuff. You know, like there's not 1,500 episodes that you can't listen to and figure out what kind of get a feel of what this guy does. So he does. And so he's like, yeah, if you can get back to me at your earliest convenience, that would be great. And then Tim Dillon replies, he's like, respectively, fuck off.
Good. Fuck him.
And he was like, yeah, I'm not doing this because he's like, you know exactly what this interview is going to be like. What do you have? How do you feel when he says, he goes, you know, on politics and stuff, or when he says stuff that hurts the general public? And what do you think about when his you know, like it's, they know there's going to be a lot of baiting questions and stuff that go in there.
And they'll only pull, they'll sit. Here's one thing that I've noticed what they do to people. I know that is they'll interview you for like 3 hours, and then use a sentence from that interview. That's what they'll do. That's what they always do. That's what happened with fucking what's his face. That's why I lost almost all respect for Jim Jeffries because of the shit he pulled with like.
Yeah, that one was really fucked up. I mean, granted, like what it was.
He did this interview with this guy who's like super. He's like a. I don't know how to really. I don't know what he is. He's like he's right leaning, or he could be right wing or whatever. But he's like I don't know. He's a guy you would easily call like a white supremacist, even though he's Jewish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like one of those guys. Like I don't like your opinion. You're a Nazi. It's like, well, that's funny. I'm a Jew, so this is weird. But like he leans right. You know what I mean? But like he has opinions on fucking migrants coming in, blah blah blah.
Right.
And they did this interview like 5 months before the Christchurch shooting, right?
Right.
And one of the things he said was like, "Hey, listen, like don't intro me as if I'm a fucking white supremacist, and don't air this like if there's a shooting sometime, don't air this right after a shooting."
Yeah, that's exactly what they did, or
yeah,
something,
they
right?
both.
And they edited the fuck out of it. So, but I think he says before he did the interview, he was like, "I want to be able to record this whole thing."
Yeah, and he did. And Jim Jeffries showed his ass.
Yeah.
Big time. Jim Jeffries actually said worse shit about Muslims than the guy that he thought was going to say like awful things about Muslims.
Yeah.
Like he was calling them like all kinds of shit, and like he even drew Muhammad and started like, look, he's dancing, And it's like, and I'm like, you're a comedian. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it, but like, don't on one hand go, oh, like try and play the virtue card,
right? And
then behind the scenes be like this crude joke guy. You can't do both.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I mean his comedy has always been very, very freaking. It's always been really edgy and very rough, especially towards any religions and stuff before, right? He's like, if you like to believe in that stuff, and we could go around other dumb cunts and you could all sing songs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nowadays, my opinion, if you're shitting on Christians, it's just fucking stupid. It's also overplayed. It's like telling a Catholic, like a priest fucking joke now. Like yeah, we all know this.
Yeah, it's not breaching out into new material for it.
Yeah, and also he got a lot of heat in a good way, I guess, from certain people for that gun control bit he had.
Right.
It's like, oh, in Australia we had one mass shooting, then we banned all guns and never had a mass shooting ever again. Blah blah blah. And everyone loved that. And then these certain people, like your woke crowds, started liking Jim Jeffries.
Right.
And that actually, you can make money on that.
I'm going to check something real quick, just because I think there might be something different on your microphone.
Uh-oh.
That's your dynamic.
Oh, my dynamic. Wow.
It's a big different now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, wait a second, why is your sound so off?
See, you're...
All right.
No, but like that's how he got his money. And then, I mean... But the problem with that is, like, if you go woke, you gotta stay woke, and you better make sure that you were always woke in the past.
Right.
So, because if they dig up shit on you, unless you're Seth Rogen, who's a dickhead, fuck that dickhead. I fucking can't stand Seth.
What
Rogen.
was it? There was a thing that you said it was pretty disheartening. He got in an argument with somebody on Twitter.
Oh yeah, with Count Dankula.
Oh, Count Dankula.
Yeah,
right.
And he tried to like big time him the whole time. Like, do you know who I am? Yeah. And Count Dankula's like, go fuck yourself, dude. Go make another movie where you just go, weed, dude. And that's what he said to him. He's like, touche. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like, see, Seth Rogen wants to be like, those guys are the worst though. Like, he wants to be like Mark Ruffalo and Kathy Griffin on Twitter, where like I'm also this, but like on Twitter I'm an activist and I go at the powers that be. Mm-hmm. When in reality you're just fighting people that you disagree with, and instead of actually having a discussion, you just try to big time them and then insult the shit out of them, and then you're like, yeah, that's right, I'm smarter than you. Why? Because you called him a fucking asshole 400 times in a row?
Mm.
I mean, doesn't really...
Well,
it doesn't help any. I don't know.
What I think is this is also has to deal with living in whatever bubble that you live in. So, like, if you're Count Dankula and you're making a decent amount of money from whatever you're doing on the internet and stuff, then that's what your bubble is for the most part. And anything that isn't that's outside of that or that doesn't live in that bubble, you don't really give a shit about.
Yeah.
If you're Seth Rogen and you're in Hollywood and you're like in the A-list comedies, what few there are, you know, and you're one of the leading men in those comedies and stuff, you think you've got a whole big world, but you don't realize that your world has no effect on somebody else's if they choose it not to be.
Yeah.
So I could see where he's like, do you know who I am? I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to be a movie star. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to do any of this stuff.
I'm not impressed by you.
Yeah, so this doesn't mean shit to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's where, like, well, wait a second, but you know, I wouldn't want to be Seth Rogen. I wouldn't want to be like, you know, like those 40-Year-Old Virgin was freaking hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he's done great. I'm not.
There were some decent funny movies and stuff. I'll totally give it that. But can you imagine if that's the only type of comedy you can do, and that's not that he's not capable of doing other things. I'm saying he's like, man, maybe if I just wanted to do some dirty stuff, or what if I just want to do this? And you can't, because if you do, you're going to fuck up your entire career because, hey, man, you're not going to be in the 50-Year-Old Virgin or whatever stupid sequel they come up with.
Oh, yeah, they'll find something to fucking,
I could honestly say that even this is slightly off the subject, but, you know, I was talking about dumb sequels. Video games are doing the same thing now.
Oh, fucking goddamn it.
So, you know, that's pretty weird. Like, the two games that I was excited about, and Barry McLean Jr., who is a comic artist who's been on the Disjointed podcast a couple times, and also Tell Him Steve Dave and a bunch of different things. He was like, Dave, don't fall into this bullshit, man. They're just trying to repackage old shit because they got nothing new to create.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are the big games coming out? Wait a second. If it's always either it's like the next Call of Duty, the next Battlefield, they revamped all three Mass Effect games.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to do the same thing with the Ninja Gaiden games. I'm like, yeah, these were all great games from like 10 years ago. Yeah, they're like, look, we're making the new versions of it. I'm like,
yeah, no, they also they redid Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yeah, I know. I refuse to buy that. I already beat both of those games 20 years ago, man. I'm not playing them again.
And here's another thing. Like, okay, so I grew up playing like games like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? I was a Sega Genesis kid, and we had a Nintendo and shit, but I like Sega better. I like the Sega Genesis better than the fucking Super Nintendo. So, even though Sega couldn't get their shit together, Sega could fuck up a wet dream. Like they had the awesomest fucking system and they fucked it up. Anyway, I used to play Sonic and Sonic was badass. Like I remember the casino level, I remember the chemical level, I remember the fucking like fighting the fucking metal fucking Sonic the Hedgehog where you like hit him on a certain part of the head. If you literally miss by like a centimeter each way, you die. Then you had to fight Dr. Robotnik repeatedly. It was fucking weird. Those games were great, but then they redid them and put them on the PlayStation, and I got the game. It was free.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm complaining this much, but I was just brokenhearted about it. I played it, and it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It was bad. Like, the levels were weirdly off. Like, there was shit missing. Like, it wasn't... They were like, well, we revamped it. No, you've just made it different, and it sucks. It's not what it was.
Or maybe, you know, I was thinking about that. I was playing like older games and just trying to go back and like, I used to love this game. I'm like, maybe it's because there was nothing better at the time. I think that might have had something to do with it. Like I bought a Nintendo DS a while back, and I got Super Mario World, and I'm playing this, and I remember loving this game when I was younger. And now I'm playing it, and I'm like, this kind of sucks, man. I'm just not having fun with this at all. Yeah. You know? And I'm like,
if I'm going to play those games, I'm playing them on the old school NES.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking around with, you know, that other shit. The only problem is to play those games now, you got to have, like... I mean, you could probably play them on a new TV now, but it's a pain in the ass. You got to buy adapters and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, that's one of the things they've also realized, too. Like, I have, like, this Sega Genesis emulator. And... that one I got, a friend of mine got that for me like a couple of years ago, and then like 2 years later they came out with the new Genesis greatest hits and stuff, and they says what really makes this thing worthwhile is that they've had this way where you can adapt it to still play this on a 1080 screen.
Oh shit.
So that way you could have it adjusted so it doesn't look awkward, because that was one of the things that we're kind of running into.
Yeah.
Is that like you put these 16-bit games on a frickin' super nice TV, they look like shit.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to make it so that way they're still playable.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I had a PS3 and I bought SimCity 2000. And I bought the game on the PlayStation Store, and then I tried to play it, and I literally could not.
Couldn't see.
Couldn't see. It was just gobbledygook, and I'm like, what? And like I'm trying, and also the codes that you used to get didn't work anymore. Like there's a code for $1 million that I used to always do because you could fucking make $1 million last for like 100 fucking years if you did it right.
Right.
You'd build this humongous city tax free, and everyone moves in because it's fucking tax free. And then by the time your 100 years is up, you got like fucking almost 1 million people living there, and then you just jack the tax rate up, and everyone's like, what? But the city's awesome, and there's no other place to go, so you're like, like you're the only one with an airport, you're the only one with a, with a harbor, all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to fuck with it like that, but like. I used to do fucking like. There's some shit that I should probably talk to a therapist about that I used to do with The Sims. I used to do some fucking really dark shit. Like I used to have them go into the swimming pool and swim, and then pull the ladder out, so they just would swim until they die. And then I remember building a house for him, and I locked him in it, and then I made him have sex because I'm God. And they made a baby. And they couldn't leave the house because there's no doors, so no one could go to work. The wife died of starvation in front of them. What happens is like they die, and then his tombstone arises right where they died, and then the DHS lady fucking is outside the window, but she can't get in because there's no doors, so she's just doing this shit. Like out, you can just see her outside, like in a pantsuit, just being like this, and then magically she shows up at the house, snags the baby, and leaves. And then, like 2 minutes later, the woman dies of starvation too, because I'm not letting them eat.
Well, at least it wasn't by suicide because he just lost her wife and his kid.
And that's when I realized, like, oh, I might have issues. I'm gonna turn this fucking game off.
Yeah, I remember playing that. They had a version of it on Facebook years and years ago.
Oof. Oh man, yeah.
You know, because remember, like they used to have like the farm app games and all that.
Oh,
other
your
stuff
farm
like
bill,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and all I remember is that I spent like literally at least a day and a half. Creating this character who made his living off of writing and playing music.
Oh.
And it was like a day. No, it was longer. It was like a couple of days, and I'm like leveling him up, and now he's making some money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could have spent all this time on writing and actually playing music. And like, well played, Sims. And I just erased the thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. It was the same thing like Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Like you play Guitar Hero, you're like, I'm really getting good at this game. I'm like, is that something to be proud of, or should you?
It's like the South Park episode.
Yeah. Like you could have learned how to play an instrument and you're like, oh, it's the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not. Learning how to play a song on an instrument is way fucking more fulfilling than Guitar Hero.
Well, it's funny is they came out with like a thing that was like similar to Guitar Hero, but you used an actual guitar.
Yeah, which that one, I never played that one, but it's kind of like, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do.
But at least it's more like rewarding, like you're playing an actual guitar.
But I think it would also require a lot more skill to actually make the notes sound right.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
At least you're practicing an instrument.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, at least what the fuck are you gonna do with a Guitar Hero fucking guitar?
The only thing that really got you was like rhythm and just learning how to change your fingers and stuff. But those buttons didn't really make any chords. But it was just the you know.
Yeah, match it up.
So that part was cool, I guess. But I don't know. Let's see.
Oh, I don't really have. I mean, I mean, I don't want to talk about politics, but I do, but I don't. I hate politics.
Yeah, it brings out the worst in all of us.
Yeah, because like right now, it's just so stupid, and the people that are like that are pro Trump or like the people that are super pro Biden, I'm just like I mentioned that I was a libertarian at work, and I would have gotten less of a disgusted reaction if I would have taken my dick out and waved it in front of a 5-year-old. I'm serious. Like I was like, yeah, I'm a libertarian, and you're like, oh, that okay fairy tale. I'm like, no, it's just because you guys just don't have the fucking nuts to fucking vote that way. You want to. You want to. I mean, they're fucking all about the shit you like. It's just you're terrified because they're like, we're gonna get rid of the DMV and all this shit, and everyone's like, oh my God, you can't do that. That would be terrible. You know, that's just wacky. That's too wacky. You know, meanwhile, their guy, I promise I'm gonna get rid of your student loan debt. gets in office. Hey, fuck you. Like, to your face. He's not even lying about it. They asked him, like, in February after he got inaugurated.
He's like, no,
fuck off. That's what he said to him. And I'm like,
take your next payment and wipe my ass with it is what I'm going to do with it.
I'm literally going to eat the check you sent. Fuck you.
Exactly.
Like, in front of you, right on TV.
Oh.
You know, I love how all these things he swore he was going to do, he's just not doing. Not like he's like putting it off and just pretending like he's going to get to it later. He's literally looking you dead in the face and going, no. Like,
yeah, all right, thanks. Shit.
I can't wait till in 2024 when everyone's fucking like, you got to vote for Biden. He's the lesser of two evils. It's like, he didn't do anything he said he was going to fucking do.
How about if I just don't vote for evil? How's that?
How about I vote third party? That's what I'm doing, voting third party, motherfucker.
That's generally what I've been doing for the past couple of years anyways.
Yeah, I voted all libertarian, man.
No, I vote for stupid shit. For the people that I know they're absolutely not even close to a third party. I think I voted the Union Party or something like that last time.
We did a thing on the show, on the You People show, where we actually went through the ballot and we found the people that were like, you knew weren't going to win. It was just like, do you realize there's still a prohibition party?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, like that worked. That worked real well, didn't it? In the 20s? Yeah, that was great.
Hey, the war on drugs is fucking great right now.
Yeah, sure it is.
Drugs won, or drugs are winning.
Drugs are winning.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, okay, let's not talk about world politics and stuff. I don't know if you have a rant today, but I figured why don't we talk about things that we liked and didn't like about the open mics that we've been to for the past week.
Well, okay, first of all, not to kiss ass and smooze and brown nose, but I'll start with a good one. Fort Collins has got its shit together. Fort Collins is badass.
If you guys have not been to the fort and the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins, man, you guys are missing out. You got to go check that place out.
Tobias, one of the guys up there.
The Charles Manson of comedy in the Fort Collins area.
Drives around in the van. He's awesome. He's awesome.
But he also looks like Charles Manson.
Yeah. And he'll even tell you that. We're not even talking shit. Like,
no.
Like he actually, one of the nights we were hanging out with him, he was fucking singing Manson songs and just dance around like he's Manson. Good guy though. He's a great guy. But he gave us a tour of the place, and he gave me probably the biggest comedy boner that I've had since I think I first saw Comedy Works inside.
Yeah.
It was because it's just aesthetically beautiful. It's how it's set up. It's fucking great.
You see all the work that they put into it. It's great. Even the backstage little area and stuff that was all that shit was just fucking great.
You can tell that that comedians built this place. You can just tell. And we got to do the open mic up there, which wasn't in the showroom. It was in the bar.
Which is perfect room for it.
Yeah. The only thing I could probably say as a critique, if there is any, and I only say this because it kind of fucked me over a little bit because of my stupid fucking bull in a china shop fucking body. Can you make the stage a little bigger? That's all I'm asking. I walked on stage and I inadvertently kicked the stool into the fucking table of four. I didn't mean to. That's my first impression. Hey, that's a nice place you got here. Bang! Fucking. And I killed about a minute. Then I did that and then profusely just fucking sucked the room's dick. Oh, this place is fucking great. as I'm breaking everything around it. But no, I mean it was Luke Gaston fucking hosted, right? It was Luke, Luke, he hosted. He's pretty cool.
He's slowly morphing into Kyle Pogue.
You know, that's Kyle Pogue's slowly morphing into I don't know what the hell he's. I don't know. Is he like a Johnny? What the fuck's his name?
I haven't seen him in a long time. Kyle Pogue was this big, huge construction worker, mammoth of a man who was also doing comedy and fucking funny dude as well. And then he decided he didn't want to do comedy anymore, so he kind of stepped away, right?
Yeah, he looks like the Marlboro mother. Marlboro mother. I have one of those. A Marlboro mother. Oh, let me tell you, kid, smoking a Marlboro. You know, he looks like the Marlboro man's twin brother if he never smoked.
Yeah.
Like he took care of himself.
Right. And then after a while, Luke Gaston shaved his head and then started growing out a mustache or something like that. Where I'm
mustaches are in. I hate mustaches, but if you can do it, do it. I fucking hate them.
But I think he started bulking up too. That's the thing is he started putting on some, getting a little swole, and I was like, is he taking Kyle Pogue's spot? I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, it's not a bad look to have. Just either way, but yeah, he ran the mic. Really, the room was really well.
Yeah, Foco was Foco. I've always loved Foco.
Great beer selection and stuff, and it's not too. They got cheap shit. They got really nice shit. So
yeah,
I don't think it's a mic that you're gonna go to and you're gonna have to drink like frickin' Pabst.
Yeah, like David Rodriguez has got a really good thing going on up there.
Yeah,
I really like it a lot, and I've got a lot of friends from up there. Like even after they moved, like I'm still friends with Will Mirswa, like who's now in Utah. He's in Salt Lake, but like he moved up there, and he actually got a lot more out of it than he did in Denver, which that's just an observation I'm making. I'm not saying he said that, but I'm just observing it because Denver's odd. Denver's an odd place.
There's certain types of or styles of comedy that if you that aren't going to fit in Denver as they would in Fort Collins or Colorado Springs. So, and likewise, vice versa. So let's say like if you're going to do like a lot of bro-y jokes, like a masculine type of humor and stuff, that might not fly as well in Denver as it would in Fort Collins or Colorado Springs. But
Springs for sure. It would definitely fly there.
Yeah, but if you're going to say like the other side of that, like let's say if you have these really intellectual, philosophical ideas that are really more of a humorist than it would be, let's say, a stand-up comedian or whatever, those things would fly more in Denver or Boulder than they would in the Springs or Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Definitely in this, they wouldn't fly as much in the Springs. So it's not like there's any wrong or right way to do it. But I think when Will moved up to Fort Collins and started doing mics up there, his work definitely like freaking grew.
Yeah, because it's a creative, it's fostering a creative environment.
Yeah.
Or Denver's a little bit like, they want to see the finished product. They don't want to see you work. They want to see like what you did.
Right.
And if you're still working on it, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to see, they don't want to, what I'm saying? It's weird. I've always kind of had a weird issue with, even though I live here, which is hilarious. I love that I live in the city that I don't do stand-up.
Yeah.
As a majority. Like, I'll go anywhere. I'll go to Loveland. I'll go to Greeley. I'll go to Fort Collins. I'll go to Boulder. I'll go to fucking Pueblo. I'll go to fucking Colorado Springs. I'll go to Castle Rock. I'll go to Littleton.
Yeah.
But Denver proper, man, I can't get booked to save my fucking life. But then again, that's also my fault because I don't go out in Denver. Yeah. Like, I'll go to an open mic in fucking Loveland before I go to one in fucking Lowhigh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just how it is.
Well, it's kind of weird now because we've gotten so old and crotchety that it's like you go to an open mic and you see like if there's more than, let's say, 25 comics on the list, I'm like, yeah, I'm not staying here for this. But the thing is, that's totally... I used to make fun of or look down on guys who would do that like a couple of years ago in the Denver scene where they get here. I'm like, I'm not hanging around for this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, you're never too good to wait around and do a mic. But at the same time, like, is there going to be a lot of people like civvies in the crowd? Because if there are, then it's worth singing out to see if your jokes are going to work. If it's all going to be comedians who are going to be talking with each other in the back of the room and ignoring everybody, that I really don't give a shit about. That I'm like, to me, is a waste of time.
And I've done my time with that shit. Yeah. I have. The first like 3 years I was here.
And you just think about it like, oh, I'm just paying my dues and stuff. And then after a while, if you've done it so much, where you're like, listen, man, these guys aren't fucking helping me out.
Yeah.
You know, nobody here is putting me on shows and stuff. Why the fuck am I doing this? It's just to inflate their ego, you know?
I remember when I first got booked for the old show, the Fine Gentleman show, the Deer Pile show.
Oh, yeah.
When I first got booked on it, Sam Talent was like, "You want to do the show?" And I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" It was like the big when I first.
That was the show to do.
That it was like the Growlix and then them, and the Growlix is like a monthly thing on a Friday at the Bug Theater, which was fucking awesome. I've been to like a handful of them. I've been on it never, but I've been to a handful of them, and they're great because I always get great talent there too. But basically the biggest local one for guys on my level was the Fine Gentleman show, the Deer Pile. So. I remember I was at an open mic somewhere in town. I think it was like Cap Hill. And he sees me outside. He goes, "You want to do my show?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "When?" He goes, "Now." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Okay." But I'm like, I'm signed up to do this. Can I do this and then go do that? He goes, "Yeah." So he talks to Elliot, who was running at the time. He puts me on like third. I do my time. I get in my car. I'm about to leave. And then it's him and I think Aaron Uris. And they're sitting in the car talking to me about it, and I'm like, okay, so I'm like, how much time I'm doing? I'm like going through the thing, and he goes, yeah, man, I always thought you were funny. I don't know why you wouldn't think that. I don't think you're funny. I don't think, what I'm saying, I never thought you were bad at this. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that's kind of thought you all fucking did, to be honest with you, but I mean, they got a weird way of showing that they like you, and sometimes it feels like they don't like you. That's why, like, I took a bunch of steps back from like the Denver scene because not like talking shit. I'm not saying people here suck because they don't. There's a lot of good people here, but like it's the point where you're like, okay, I don't fit in, and fitting in here is important. At least to as far as here goes, and you want to fit in. I mean, as much as you want to be like, I'm my own man, fuck you. At the end of the day, you want to fit in.
Yeah.
You want to be friendly, you want to be cool with people. You want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And when you start feeling like you're not a part of it, and then you start really feeling like you're not a part of it, then it's like, what the fuck am I doing here? And then you just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So.
There's a weird thing that kind of also happened, now that I think about it, and tell me if I'm wrong on this one, because I think I probably am. So I remember the people that used to be you'd always see the same people at the same mics, like when we started out like 5-6 years ago. So that was like Zach Moss, Aaron Uris, Jordan Dahl. You would see him there. A lot of these really, now they're considered like Denver headliners and stuff.
Yeah. Zach Moss is like
Yeah, and then I think the thing that's kind of changed, maybe because they needed to spend more time doing other shit, but it seemed like when they got into the almost famous category of Comedy Works, that's kind of when I stopped seeing them at certain mics.
Oh, well, I mean, it's because they mostly, I think they put
they had other shit that paid money that they were doing. Yeah,
like they're probably actually like going out and doing like like paid gigs all over the country now, or like or what I'm saying. So like the reason why they're not at a mic on Tuesday is because they probably been just getting their ass kicked by traveling the whole week. And
I see, that makes more sense. But it was always kind of weird where, like, remember when you used to see somebody like suddenly you don't see him at Strange Grounds anymore. I mean, that mic doesn't exist and hasn't for a long time. But
I don't think that place even exists anymore.
No, not even.
That's the funny part about doing these mics. So many places you're like, I used to do a mic at this place, and it's now an AutoZone.
Yeah. So yeah, right by the air filters. All right.
So anyway, I bought a computer. No.
Yeah, you're gonna want to change this. So it was just kind of strange. But now I think that was one of the things that also kind of changed the scene, is that there were certain really good comics that you would see at the open mic, and then they kind of move on.
Yeah.
And not that they have to keep doing the same mics or anything like that. I understand, like what you said, like they're suddenly getting a lot more opportunities to work in different parts and stuff. But then it's like you just don't see them anymore, and you're like, all right. I mean, obviously they got a great drive about them, and they're just moving on, and that's all cool. But, it is what it is.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm not really shitting on them at all. I'm just
not at all.
But like at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I got some advice from a dude years ago. We're talking 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. You may know him. His name is Bert Kreischer.
Name drop.
Name drop. Oh, almost threw my back out dropping that name. No, he was headlining the Improv, and we used to have this shitty open mic that was in the lobby of the Improv after the show on Thursdays.
Right.
Because that's what you want to see after seeing an hour and a half of comedy.
Of really good comedy. Now let's see some really shit comedy.
Yeah, as you're leaving. So, like, but most comics who were headlining that night would either flirt with the waitresses or they just leave.
Yeah.
Bert actually hung out and watched. He hung out with us. I did my time, get off stage. He waved me over. I was like, oh, he wants to talk to me. This is before I realized it was Rogan's guy. I like any of that shit.
Before the machine, before all.
No, he told the machine story on stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and which was a fucking wild story when you first hear it.
Yeah.
But he told me that he goes, hey man, I like your stuff, but don't get discouraged because the way you're doing it, it's gonna take you longer than most people. And I didn't know what he meant by that, but now after 6 years of this shit, I'm like, I get it now.
Man, when I hit him up, like, so how much longer? Jesus.
Hey, this fucking sucks, dude. Nah, like, I'm good at this shit. I'm not here to blow myself, though. I know some people that like to do that shit. I hate that shit.
So the only thing that I know is kind of going back at least to the open mic thing is like when I do an open mic in, let's say, Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Because they don't know me down there. Most of the other comics and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, after you go down there once or twice a month, eventually you start to see the similar faces.
Yeah.
And what was kind of cool is that I love about those scenes is they're pretty accepting about like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And so they go up and I do my thing, and then to them, because I've been doing it longer, they don't know who I am. They're like, how long have you been doing this, man? I'm like, yeah, I'm an open micer just like you guys.
Yeah. I don't want to tell you how long I've been doing it. It's too sad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm like, oh Jesus. Now I remember asking that question to Pete Cohen years ago, and he got really pissed at me.
Oh, what?
No, this is out of the blue bonnet. I'm like, oh, because I was new to town. I was like, so how long have you been doing comedy? You know, and he's like, too fucking long to be doing this shit.
Yeah. No, and that's. I mean, you want to shit on Pete? That's actually a valid answer.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, and you know, I mean, we became friends afterwards and stuff. But I think that's like Jordan Waliba, rest in peace. She used to go to that mic all the time, and there was a lot of cool people. But yeah, either way, so it's just kind of funny because like, when you kind of sometimes I judge how well I'm doing by what the younger comics, but I'm like, all right, what is it that they're saying? They're like, wow, you're really, you know, such and such.
A lot of those guys are like, they're either 2 years or less in.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was, I remember one time I fucking hawked my Xbox 360 for gas money to make it to a mic.
Wow.
Which, if you would have asked me to do that now, I'd have been like, fuck you. I'm not going to sell my PS4 for gas to get to fucking...
For a mic?
For a mic in Liquid or some shit? No.
But you do that, you do shit like that to prove it to yourself that you want it. But if you're doing that to prove to somebody else how dedicated, they're not going to give a shit.
No, but like the first 2 years, you were all about it. Like, it changes your life.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, I lost jobs because of this shit.
Yep.
Because I would go out till fucking 1, 2 in the morning, and then I would come back and try to work at 5, 6 o'clock in the fucking morning. And then eventually, like, my body would slow down and go, stop, man. Either pick one or the other, or I will, motherfucker. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're oversleeping your alarm, and you're not getting.
I don't care how many alarms you set. We're sleeping for 10 hours just to make up for all the other shit.
You can't live on 20 hours of sleep a week. You just can't fucking do it.
Right.
And but then you know, but it's the thing. I mean, I still love it. It's and for me, this is how I think of mics now, like open mics. Are they important? Fuck yeah, you should go to one. You should go to them. Even if you're headlining shit, you should, because it allows you, especially if you have like if you have new thoughts and you want to flush them out or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you don't, when you get to like where I'm at, like and this is not.
You start getting more selective about which mics you want to hit up.
Yeah, because you want to like figure out something. You don't want to feel uncomfortable, and it's an open mic. If it's a paid gig, you're gonna have some uncomfortable paid gigs.
Yeah.
But an open mic, you should feel comfortable because it's like. It allows you to go, okay, this is an idea that I can flush out in front of you guys. It's like talking to your friends, like before you, you know, it's like running your idea through your in your head to your friends before you go out and do it. You know, and you know that's important. But like, and this is not a brag, and I actually hate even saying this, but I'm like almost 11 years into this shit.
Yep.
Almost 11. I should be way more better than what I am, but it is what it is.
Right.
That's on me. There's no other person to blame but me.
Feel the same way.
At the same time.
About you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's like, I'm great. You fucking still stink. Yeah. Fuck's wrong with you?
Fuck yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know. I have like over an hour of material that I can fucking do, but like a lot of it's kind of old and I'm hating doing it now. But then again, like Jerry Seinfeld said, once you start doing it, that's when they start loving it. So.
Yeah, and also I got a lot of fat jokes.
Yeah.
Right. And I hate doing the fat jokes, but I know that they work relatively well, which is why I just can't give up that fat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm always trying to push myself to write new shit because I'm like, I know I could do better than these jokes. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, but there's times where I just don't have anything, anything new at least. Like and this is where this is one of the reasons why I don't go out a lot right now. Because there was a time where I'm like, during COVID, I was going out to the mic once a week.
Yeah.
To the only mic we had.
Right.
But now everything's opening back up, so now everything's kind of getting back to what it was with the politics and the fucking this and that.
Oh, that shit snapped right back there. Where I was like,
bam.
I go, hey, some of us that were trying to fucking do this during the whole COVID, like, yeah, you trying to put everybody at risk? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put all of you at risk in order if I can get this much funnier.
Yeah.
I will put everybody's health at risk. But that's a dedication and selfishness that I have.
But I mean, if I don't want to go to a mic if I don't have anything, because I feel like I'm wasting your fucking time.
Yep.
And I'm taking up a spot that some younger comic who really wants the time, who is hungry for it, is gonna use something better with it.
I agree with that.
That's why I'm like, this time. I mean. And I'm just, like, I don't like hanging out either. I'm not a fan of that, like, just go there and hang out. Like, no, man. Like, I got other things going on in my life.
Yeah, I always feel like I have enough friends right now. I don't need any more.
Yeah. Well, plus, these assholes fucking party too hard. I can't fucking hang with them.
Yeah.
I'm too old, man. I fucking, dude, I can't. If I have, like, 3 beers, I have to call in to work the next day.
Yeah.
You know, like I just get high and fucking that's it. Like, I just smoke pot. That's fucking and do mushrooms once a fucking third month.
Right. But yeah, I think that should probably, I don't know if that would be a recurring segment, but I would say like the mic that kind of impressed both you and I the most was the one at the Comedy Fort, which is
yeah, absolutely.
So that one I'm definitely looking forward to going to again. There's other mics out there. I'm going to wait till other episodes before we say, hey, this place is good. Go check this one out. You know. We won't do the shit mic of the week because that's not fair to anybody. That's just it would just be me being bitter because I went up like 42nd and something.
Oh gee, see that reminds me of the old fucking what
El Torito?
Kingas. Well, yeah, El Torito. Yeah, that used to annoy the fuck out of me.
So this was a weird thing though. This was a big ego rub though because there was a time when I was doing these things so frequently. Right, and then we're kind of known fairly well, so it didn't matter what because the list was hardly ever going in order. So if they saw your name on the list, there was a good chance you would go up in about 15 or to about a half hour or so.
Yeah,
and that was always like an amazing thing where it's kind of like, hey, like I kind of bumped the list. That's what my ranking of the Denver comedy thing is, you know. But that shit went to my head real quick, and then like the one time they went in order, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm like, wait a second, what am I?
Yeah.
Well, I was getting pretty full of myself, and I'm like, oh, holy shit.
I've caught myself doing that a couple times, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I acting? Why?
What, I'm gonna be a fucking open mic diva? Jeez.
Yeah, no, I've done that a couple times, and then like either later on that night or like in the moment that I'm doing it, I gotta stop and go, why the fuck? Who are you? You A, you're not this dude, and B, who do you think you fucking are right now?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm important. People know me. Good. So does people know the fucking Conoco gas station attendant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, who gives a fuck?
He still has to wait to go up.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's got fire. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be that too.
See some fucking wild shit, you know. So anyway, I saw a guy OD in the bathroom. Hey. No, but I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm seeing it come back now, and it's bumming me out because I hate politics and this shit. But a lot of people but then again, a lot of people really work hard and they're there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And those people should get promoted and should fucking advance as long as they're good and as long as they got their shit together and they're not just being like star fuckers
or unless they just like, oh, I'm here all the time, but they're not getting better and they still get advanced. I will say that does annoy the fuck out of me, but you know,
I used to see that shit all the time back home. It was hilarious. We used to have this show called The Shaskeen, and it was a fucking contest where every week they would pick a winner. And there would be these dudes who would show up every fucking week and do the same 5 fucking minutes week after week after week after. I'm just over and over. Like they think like, oh, if I tell it differently this time, I'll win. And it's like, but like that guy, you don't go, hey, you want to do my show? You don't, fuck that. No, you don't do that. But like, if there's people going out there and they're going out every week and they're trying out new shit, even though they're 2 years into it or less, it at least shows that like, oh, they're grinding, they're fucking doing their job.
Yeah, you ever see like there's somebody that comes up and they start to do they do a bit one week, and it's kind of funny, but it's not there yet.
Yeah,
and then they just keep coming up with new shit every week where it's like, no, that's cool, I'm glad you're writing, but you need to go back to some of those bits and rework it and stuff. It's not like it has to be perfect the first time you do it. If it's not perfect, you don't use it. That's you know, I've seen that shit a lot too. Yeah. So
why not? Well, I got a rant. I guess we can do it this one. This is comedy related.
All
right. How long you been doing it is not a thing you should respect. You just know. Like I said before, I've been doing this for 11 years, almost 11 years. I'm not fucking proud of that. I'm not like waving that shit in people's faces, being like, you know how long I've been fucking doing this shit. You know, the only time I ever really kind of do it is when I like, you know, back in my day, I'll have like the, you know, where like I was here for the Emily Wars. I was here back when like Sam Talent was like at my level right now. Like I was, you know, and he's fucking blowing the fuck up. Like I was here, like I used to fucking go to open mics and see guys like Ben Roy just hanging out.
Yeah.
I've been doing this shit for a while, but no one puts a crown on your head just because you've been around for a while.
Mm.
You know, there's people that have been doing this shit for 5 years that are light years better than people that have been doing it for 20.
Yeah.
That's just part of it, man. That's just part of it. I mean, if some comics out over here telling you that you should respect him because they've been doing it for a long time, tell them to go fucking eat a bag of dicks. Honestly, eat shit and fucking throw up in the fucking Wendy's bag. I don't fucking eat, fuck off. Like, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. Are you good? Right? Are you good? And and if you've been doing it for that long and you're still going to these open mics, yo, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you shouldn't
I'm right
be
here, man. Jesus.
Like, I'll tell you flat out why, why I'm where I'm at. And I'm not, I could be better, obviously. I'm not saying,
Oh, my hustle sucks.
Yeah, my hustle's not very good. But then again, I kind of had the wind taken out of me about 3 years ago. And I also smoke, so that doesn't help. But I'm just, I don't have the energy for it. But, like, I still want to do it. But, like, I'm not over here fucking telling motherfuckers you better respect who I am. If someone was like, fuck you, if I ever said that and someone said, fuck you, I go, fair.
Fair enough. You know
fair enough.
I never thought of it that way. Thank you.
I mean, it's not a sign, unless you want to hear old-timey stories about back in the day when you had to use an atlas map to get to your shows, that's fine. But, like, I'm not going to go, yeah, you should listen to him. He's been doing this for 20 years. Well, then why the fuck is he here?
Yeah.
Why is he here? He shouldn't be here then. You know what I mean? Unless he, like, just likes doing these things, then that's fine. But, like, if you literally have no TV credits, you have no one else fucking wants to work with you, and you just go on the mics, then I don't want to be you. You fucking out of your mind? You think I want to do this shit for 10 more years? Just going to... You know what I mean? Like, I would like this to bear some fruit at some fucking point.
Right. I had a conversation, or Chuck Roy was on my podcast a couple times. And one of the things we're talking about, because he had started, like, teaching a comedy course at Metro.
Yeah.
Right, which is different. I felt that was different, though, because I was, like, accredited, and it's not like he was running at a community center out of his house.
I know a few guys back home who do that shit.
Yeah, exactly. We know a couple of guys out here that teach comedy. You're like, why the fuck is this guy teaching comedy? So, but I saw the showcase that Chuck Roy had, because he invited some other comedians as well as the people from his class. And there was a couple of people that are still doing comedy today. But what was interesting about him is each one of his students had a different style of comedy that they were doing.
Yeah.
So, in other words, what I really loved about it is that, to me, that meant that Chuck Roy wasn't teaching them how to do what he did. He was helping them learn how to create something in their own vein. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's really good. That's a good comedy course. That's something I would recommend to people. I know there's other comics probably wouldn't feel the same way about it, but everybody has their different opinions on it. But we've seen, like, somebody who teaches a comedy course where I'm like, dude, if you're gonna take a comedy course from anybody, ask to see their resume, see what their press kit looks like.
And he's got credentials, man. He's got TV credits, all that shit.
And he also has a bunch of material online, so that way you can see what kind of jokes and stuff that he was doing. Yeah. So whether it's not necessarily if you think it's funny or not, but if you could see how well it's done. Yeah. You know, like if you're at that point, if you're going to take a class, there's a good chance you're a comedy nerd to begin with, and you've been studying people. So you can kind of watch and be like, oh, I can see that's really good. All right, you can see what it is, and that's somebody you can learn from. So in that respect, the same thing is like when somebody's trying to big time you in an open mic, and you're kind of like, all right, what's your fucking credits, man? You know,
don't even ask
that, because then they're gonna tell you, they're like, check out my IMDb, and I'm like, which is the new version of saying, do you know who I am? I don't know.
Like Google me or whatever.
My little rant and stuff. I think we were gonna do a topic of the week, but we're almost in an hour, and I'm thinking we should probably kind of end up on this.
Yeah, it's been pretty comedy heavy.
Yeah, very so we might as well just stick with a comedy theme here. If you're going to, if you're a new comic and you're going to try to state some type of historical fact, you need to make sure that you have your facts straight before you put it into a joke. He knows exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah, I do.
There was a very young comic who had an idea for a premise, and then he said something so unbelievably fucking stupid that was historically so inaccurate that it made absolutely no sense. It completely disregarded about, I don't know, 1,000 years of a history in Europe. Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm like, this was a stupid. I mean, that joke could have been reworded like, I don't think, anything from baby boomers on down, we wouldn't have made good slaves. That would have made more sense.
You know what I mean? Or if you made it a generational thing instead of a race thing, right?
Yeah, from the baby boomers on, we've been pretty soft.
Yeah, we've been pretty soft and stuff. That would have made more sense, and you would have put in there, and rather than saying what he did. One, I don't even want to repeat this kid's joke, because one, it's not mine to repeat, and two, it's fucking stupid anyways. But
I was sitting next to him when the guy was telling the joke, and I looked right at Dave, and Dave just looked like he was just like, he looked like a teacher who was like, I'm going to have to fail the student. That's the look he gave, like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. I mean, if there was anything where it's kind of like, or if you're going to, I mean, there was a couple things where basically I get what he was doing is that he had an idea for a bit, and then he tried to move things, put his views around it, but state them as facts, so that way it would make his bit make sense. So to me, it was like a lazy way of actually coming up with the premise.
Yeah.
So if that makes any sense, and I'm not to say that I haven't been guilty of that at times myself, but it's really weird when I see somebody like, like, hey, when this person said this, and I'm like, nope, I don't believe they've ever said that. Can you cite your sources where you've heard that? And then they say like, well, doesn't that sound like something they would say? And I'm like,
oh God, I hate
and I'm like, that is completely that's
That's bullshit. You can't do that to people.
Yeah, and regardless of who it is that they're talking about, that's fucking dishonest. That's just starting a rumor.
Yeah.
If you have nothing to back it up, you're just being a gossipy little bitch.
Yeah.
And much like the way they're performing.
It was, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I remember that joke vividly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, or it sounds like something he would say. Yeah, because dude. He didn't say it, though. Like, that's the fucking point. He didn't say it.
And people who listen to that guy knows that he wouldn't say something like that unless he was talking specifically to one of his friends.
Yeah, we're talking about Rogan, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy said something like, I don't know, Rogan's like a racist of some sort. And Rogan's not. I mean, you can say what you want about the guy, but, like, he has his detractors, and they make some good points. But these ones who never listen to his show, only watch like 1 minute TikTok clips of his shit, and then go off on rants about how much of a piece of shit he is. You're an ignorant fuck, just like the people you think you're fighting against. You're just as bad. So you're exactly the same person.
I think the thing is what makes it troublesome to make a joke like that.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a room with other people who don't listen to that podcast, that joke would probably fucking land.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but people who do, you'd be like...
People who do, however, they're like, I've been listening to him for about 12 hours a week, 12 to 16 hours a week for the past couple of years. So I think I know that guy pretty well at this point, and he wouldn't have said something like that. So, no, I don't think your joke fucking... I don't think that... I think you're lying. I think you're doing whatever you can just in order to try to get a laugh or a cheap laugh out of people who think like you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That was... but... I don't know. It was more about the dishonesty that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And
also, it was lazy.
Yeah, it followed up with the other premise and stuff that he had done about the other one, where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense either. So I don't know.
That's like if someone like went on stage and said, "Can you believe that like Elon Musk said he hated all Jews," and then he waits 5 seconds and goes, "I mean, that sounds like something he would say."
Right.
It's like, well, he never said it. So what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So where did you just purposely started a rumor just so that way you can make your joke work and go fuck yourself?
That's an excuse someone fucking says when they caught in a lie and they go, "Well, I mean, it sounds like he would say that."
Yeah.
That's not an answer, man.
And that's also, you know what else that's not? It's not comedy.
No, it's just being a dick.
It's not funny.
It's being a rumor.
You're wasting everybody's fucking time when you do shit like that.
Yeah.
Should have just stayed home. Sorry, that's me being mean.
No, that's fine. No, I get it. I understand it. As a guy who's very like, I'm like Switzerland in this one.
Right.
Like I do not dislike Rogan.
Uh-huh.
I actually kind of like his podcast. Never really got into any of his comedy. But I'm not like a diehard Rogan fan. Like I'll put it to you like this. I'll watch the ones where he has people on that I like.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge Michael Malice fan. Love the dude.
See, I hate that episode just because that guy bugs the shit out of me.
Well, because you're from New York and he's like a hipster New Yorker, so I can kind of understand.
I mean, I'll listen to the episode, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Or like Dave Smith, or shit like that.
Legion of the Skanks guys, or
But like I'll listen to that if he's got like, He had Matt Taibbi on a couple times, who's a journalist who I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of great shit. He wrote about the '08 crash and the most awesomest. Like, he also has a book about drugs, about the drug war. And he was like, but he's great. You should fucking read his shit if you ever get a chance to. He's fucking amazing. He's one of the few Rolling Stone journalists that I'm like, fucking read his shit.
Yeah.
He's really good. People like that, they'll have him on, and like, I'll watch that. But if he's having like one of his friends on or some shit or some comic, like, I didn't watch the Dave Chappelle one. I didn't watch any of the Fight Companion ones, because
the Fight Companion ones I do kind of miss though, because those were pure chaos.
Well, there's a twitch that goes up the back of the crack of my ass through my spine.
Yeah.
Whenever Brandon Schaub just talks, I can't fucking with this guy. I just can't. I know it's like, well, don't make fun of him. I'm not making fun of him. I think he's fucking awful. Like, I just don't like the guy. I mean, if you do, that's fine. I'm not here to judge. I'm just, from my perspective, not a fan. Not a fan. And that's why I can't watch it.
I used to listen to The Fighter and the Kid because I liked the combination of Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, okay.
And then when Brian Callen left the show because of what was going on with him, then I'm like, there's really no reason for me to listen to The Fighter and the Kid anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
So, I mean, sometimes I'll listen to Schaub if they're doing like breakdowns of MMA fights because obviously he would know more about it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't know. But, yeah, so I think maybe like on a personal level, I was a little butthurt about that, where I'm like, hey, that's not like, obviously that joke was not meant for me.
Yeah.
Somebody who listens to Joe Rogan, that's not who that joke was meant for.
Yeah.
That joke was meant for somebody who doesn't listen to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh yeah, and plus,
that's exactly where I'm like. That's why I said if it was in a room full of like hipsters who who don't actually pay attention to anything, you just want to hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Then maybe that joke.
Well, then I'll go the other way too, just to show you like where I stand. Podcasts like Wait, Don't Tell Me. What's the other ones that they always The Moth, like all those ones. Fucking dog shit. I used to, but people that I worked with on Saturdays, we play Wait, Don't Tell Me, and I wanted to jump headfirst into the fucking compactor. I hate campy humor. I hate that like too cool for the room shit. I never liked it. Music or comedy or any of that shit. I fucking hate it. If you're gonna come into this shit being all like, I'm super smart, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear it. I don't like it.
Not for you.
No, it's not for me. But when you're, this is why. By the way, if there are comics watching this, don't fucking tell people at work that you're a comedian.
Yeah,
it's a fucking bad. You want to, and trust me, every time it's ever gotten brought up at work, I've never brought it up. It's always guys that I work with being like, "He's a comedian," and I'm just like, "God fucking shit."
The only time I've ever brought it up is because like sometimes if I'm like, hey, sometimes you got to take risks and everything. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, listen, I got to take a risk all the time. Like, doing here, we're catering. No, I do comedy. I put myself out there a lot. They're like, oh, okay.
The only time I've ever really brought it up on my own is when I needed time off from work. But like, I don't really go up people going, oh well, I'm a comedian.
Yeah,
I don't. A, that's douchey, and B, people are gonna either one of three things. They're gonna want to tell you. They're gonna want you to tell them a joke all the time. Or two, they're gonna tell you shitty jokes and then tell you to use them in your fucking act.
Here's something you could use. That's something you could use. You can do.
God forbid you say anything remotely funny at work. Is that part of your act? Fuck you, Greg. Not actual Greg. I like you, Greg. Greg, like a fictitious person named Greg, not the Greg I work with. He's actually a nice guy.
See, I don't fucking like Greg at his job.
And then three,
he knows it. So.
People are going to be dickheads to you sometimes. They're going to be dickheads to you because they think that, like, oh, you're a comedian. I can just be an asshole to you. You're just going to think it's funny. It's like, no, dude, no, I'm getting pissed at you right now. Like, I want to shove a stump up your ass. Like, I fucking can't stand you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You can take a joke. Yeah, but you're not telling jokes. You're just being a cunt. Like, I don't fucking like this. It sucks. Stop it. This is my day job. Leave me the fuck alone.
Not trying to work on my fucking act while I'm delivering fucking...
That's like telling someone,
Uncle Slappy's vodka to some freaking drunk over on 16th Street.
Yeah, it's like imagine if like you were like a distiller, like a pro-am, like a guy that did it in your free time, but you're pretty good at it. So you whatever, like you're making vodka or whatever, you're making shit, making spirits, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell someone, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck you," and they throw like alcohol in your face. Like, well, dude, just because I like making this shit doesn't mean I want alcohol thrown in my fucking face. But
one of these bastards. What are you gonna do?
Anyway,
but either way, yeah. I guess that was my own little freaking my little tip to the young comedians out there.
Yeah.
Which I know that none of them are gonna fucking watch this and stuff. At some point, they're like, dude, I think he was talking shit about you, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking hated your act. But guess what? It doesn't matter what I think. It really matters what you think about your act. And if that kid likes his jokes and stuff, then fucking keep going with it. Who am I to say otherwise?
Yeah, but also, if he does get mad at you because it shows that he has no confidence in his shit, and he's just mad that you're poking a hole in the thing that
Hey, you know what? I didn't do it at the mic. I didn't do it while he was on stage. I didn't do. I respect comics enough not to do that, especially.
There's comics, by the way, who do that shit nowadays, and that shit's got it.
I'm not digging it. I'm not a fan of it.
I hate that. And I have friends of mine, that pull that shit, and
It's like, listen, I don't need your help to know if this joke sucks or not.
Yeah.
I could hit the deafening silence is enough to tell me.
And we're not talking like you're in the parking lot, talking to each other, shooting the shit, and then they go. And you're like pitching an idea, they talk over you.
Yeah.
We're talking, you're on stage, microphone in your hand, you're fucking doing your thing, and they're like, why are you doing this? What's what? Just like, dude, can this wait?
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Like, we're friends, we can talk afterwards.
Yeah, and it's just annoying. And I've seen other comics, I'll see comics yell shit at people, like, move the mic stand. He'll figure that out. Just don't yell at him. What the fuck, dude? Like, I've seen comics literally just say, fuck it and leave, and then they're like, what? Like, I'm just trying to be helpful. Like, no, you're just trying to be an authoritative dick who's trying to just show how awesome you are through, like, oh, I know everything. You don't know shit.
Yeah.
If you knew everything, you wouldn't fucking be here.
Right.
You'd be on, like, well, I mean, everything's changed. I was going to say The Tonight Show, but.
You'd be on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
You'd be on Mark Maron's podcast complaining about Trump, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't be here. Is Mark Maron like the left-wing Joe Rogan? Is that what he is?
No, he has a different type of thing that he does.
Joe Rogan's not right-wing, by the way. I'm just saying.
No, he's not. But I think he's definitely found his. I think Maron's stuff is more like emotional and intellectual in that respect, where he wants to get in deep in the emotional things, what people are going through.
And Rogan's not emotional. He's more like
intellectual. I mean, he's intellectual and stuff, and he will get emotional. But
different. He's the intellectual. They're both intellectuals, but just on different
wavelengths.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And sometimes they'll like try to find a way to. They'll get to the same spot. They just go. They have different routes and how they go it.
Yeah.
So I thought Maron was on Rogan's podcast once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. And it was just one of those things where he was kind of nervous and stuff. So I'm like,
that's like David Letterman doing the fucking Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
But friggin' Maron had Obama on his podcast. That is still the crowning. That's the biggest get.
Yeah.
Any guest has ever had.
Oh yeah, and then Obama dropped the N-word and everyone lost their mind.
Yeah.
But he wasn't saying like, yeah. He was like making a point about the 50s, and he's like, said the actual word about how people say that. Yeah. He's making a point. It was a valid point.
Yeah, I know. Listen, if the president of the United States, who's an African American, can't say it, then listen, I think we've gone too far. We've come full circle, and we started telling people. When you start telling black people what they can and can't say about themselves, I think you've gone too far, guys.
Well, if there ever was a time, the person who would complain would be a white woman. So they'd be like, "Oh my God!" I need to
stand up for President Obama, who's talking against himself. I know more than he does.
Yeah,
don't worry. Don't worry, everybody, guys.
Hold my latte, Becky. I'm gonna get really mad.
Let me go. Who's the manager?
Who's the manager of you, Mr. Obama? I'm the president of the United States. Is there anyone above you I can talk to? Because you're not getting.
Jesus. I don't think we could add anything better than that. All right.
Obama.
Guys, check out past episodes at mansplainingpod.com.
Yeah.
Also, other podcasts that we have on there as well. The You People Show.
Mondays at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. Facebook, we go live. You could listen to it all afterwards, too, on like Spotify and all those places.
Yep. Disjointed Podcast at disjointedpod.com.
And June 12th, I have a show at the Halfpenny Brewing in Littleton off of Arapahoe Road.
Mm-hmm.
Shanae Ross will be headlining. Movita and Mandy K will be the features. And it's a good time. Please come. If you see this, please come out. I want this. This is the first show I wanted to kill and see what happens. So, also, all the young comics out there, just grind your balls off. Just do it. Do it. Keep on going.
Yep. Don't listen to what we say. Just keep
take it with a grain of salt, but like we're not telling you to like you suck, stop. No, fuck that. I was fucking bad, dude. You're in, so it is what it is. Don't worry about it. You being bad the first 2 years, it doesn't matter. You're going to be great after that. You'll figure it out.
You're going to suck slightly less after from between years 2 and 5.
Yep.
And then once you get after 5, you finally have an idea like, oh, what's funny, what isn't funny.
This is what I am. This is what I do. This is how I work.
Yeah, and you'll start getting it and stuff. So just keep at it, guys.
Hell yeah.
All right. Signing off for Mansplaining. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Stay toxic.
Boom.